kick us off?
Yeah, that was me. All right. Read the last names real quick again. Hi, I'm Dominic. I hail from Brewer. I've taught there for the last 8 years or so, and I'm representing kind of the central Maine from here over to Newport, and then the northern Maine area up to Fort Kent and Presque Isle, Caribou, and everything in between.
I guess that would be me next. Hi, I'm Holly Graffam, and I am going to be representing the Mid-Coast area, Portland to about Rockland, I guess, as far as I'll be going, and up a little bit north into Waterville and Augusta. And prior to being an MLTI ambassador, I was a technology instructional coach at Scarborough Middle School.
Hi, I'm Kate Meyer. I'm representing, I guess, the other half of Mid-Coast Maine, all the way to down East Maine in Lubec. So from basically Belfast to Lubec. Prior to becoming an MLTI ambassador, I taught English and design thinking at Mount Desert Island High School for 19 years.
I'm Eric Wade. I have pretty much all of central and western Maine, from Auburn to Guilford to Jackman and over to Sugarloaf. So I'll be all over the place. I've been teaching for 20 years. Recently, I just finished up about 8 years in Pittsfield at Warsaw Middle School.
And I'm Jonathan Warner. I guess I have the rest of Maine, which ends up being the York County and southern region and a little bit up the western border. I think I have the fewest schools and the most teachers and students in our balance of things, and least miles to travel, unlike Mr. Dominic and his 500,000 mile planned trip in the next few months. I was the tech integrator at Cable Elizabeth Middle School prior to becoming an ambassador, and before that worked in Gorham as an English teacher.
Thank you so much, everybody. Just to explain the format of this session that we're doing today. So it's something of a mock Q&A. I want to give a chance for people to ask questions. So if you have questions, certainly feel free to put them in the chat. We'll hopefully have enough time to get to those at the end. But we have some kind of frequent questions that people have asked that we have set up for our ambassadors to answer, and we'll kind of go through those one by one. So each of them have a little bit of time on the floor to share some of their thoughts and experiences with everybody. So like I said, if you have any questions for any of our ambassadors, either specifically or just kind of the program in general, feel free to put that right in the chat and we'll try to address those at the end. So I do want to talk about the MLTI 2.0 program, and one of the big shifts this time around is we have split kind of the device part of the program and the professional learning part of the program, and really wanted to put some focus, time, and energy into professional learning and have that not so much, tied to a product or a vendor or something, some of those models that we've seen in the past, but really try to open it up and meet schools with the various needs that they have. So we're so excited that part of that, we have this new model that we're going to be using. So the Distinguished Educator model essentially hires teachers right from schools. They're essentially on loan from the school. So there's some contractual stuff that goes on that makes it a nice, easy transition from teachers to come and work for the Department of Education for a period of time. And then when that period is over, they are able to go back to their school and hopefully take all of their great connections and ideas and learnings back to their school and make their school even better. And all of these people will have the benefit of that they can continue working with the school districts that they had worked in. So we've, I think, all learned a lot about the ability to do remote work. And this was a great opportunity for the department to really leverage the ability to do remote work, and people are able to stay in their areas. We're not just looking for a pool of people who are willing to commute to Augusta on a daily basis or a frequent basis, but we can really find the truly best people across the state to work in their regions, the regions that they live and the regions that they've worked. So we're really excited about this model and are hoping that this program will be successful and we'll be able to grow this in the future. And I'll let Emma talk a little bit about our focus of PD for the next 2 years.
Yeah, so with MLTI 2.0, we're really focusing on, making sure that all teachers are actively engaging in MLTI professional learning and have opportunities to collaborate not only within their schools, but also throughout their regions and across the state. And we've set a few kind of state level goals, and our vision is that these awesome MLTI ambassadors are going to help to really give you a connection to the vision of MLTI and to help see that through and to set goals with you and to also help you reach whatever goals you might already have. And we've kind of talked at length about what our focus areas would be for MLTI 2.0 in these first few years. And we've landed on digital citizenship, technology integration, and digital instructional design. So they're very wide focus areas that certainly have room for whatever your district level goals are as well. And there's all sorts of information about that on our website, and I will drop in a link as well. And I'm going to pass it back to John to get us started with questions.
One question, we're going to go around, let everybody have a minute to share their answer. We will go again in alphabetical order by last name. So Bobby, you can lead us off in this one. And it is, what drew you to the MLTI ambassador position?
All right. So, obviously we all have our love for technology, and that's kind of why we're here and what we do. So I've developed that over time, especially in math and trying to integrate it as much as possible. I've just come to love the impact that technology has on modern learning for students in the classroom, and how that translates across all subjects, all grade levels, and it becomes a life skill for students at this point. But I also feel like with much of technology, just as in our society, we're always playing catch up with the technology. So when I saw this advertised on Facebook, honestly, I saw that there first. I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to have an impact on helping schools really use this widespread of technology in a productive manner and really enhance both the schools and the kids and the lessons and all of that all together. So that was my real main draw to this, was be able to have an impact at a higher level and really work on getting the most out of this technology that we all have now.
So I have been doing some technology instructional coaching for the last 6 or 7 years, and I was really wanted to take that experience and bring it to other schools, trying to branch out beyond my own school and my own district. Not that I think that I am better than other districts, but it's an opportunity for me to grow as well, because every time you reach out and you go into a new environment, there's always something for you to learn. So that's what really drew me to this position, was a chance to grow myself and hopefully in the process grow other people in their technology integration and instruction.
I was really drawn to this position really specifically after going through last year and teaching fully remote and in a hybrid model for the year, and offering professional development around technology integration to my faculty. I've always been involved with technology on tech committees and tech teams since I joined my school in 2002. So that's always been a great interest of mine. But I think especially after last year, I felt a real pull to share what I've learned with others, and also the idea that I'm going to be working with 49 other schools, and I'm going to have the opportunity to learn so much from them, and like John said, bring that back to my school at the end of 2 years. So I'm really excited about the equity that this creates for professional development in the state of Maine, which if you're maybe in northern Maine or way down east or way out west, has been difficult to access. And so I'm just really excited to be a part of that.
For me, it's kind of 3 reasons. next one is, I've taught for a long time, and I think the next step professionally for me would be integrationist, technology specifically. And this seemed like a perfect way to kind of get my foot in the door and see if it's the direction that I'd like to go. I really love to help people problem solve. Like I feel like it's a strength of mine, and it's just always been something that I feel like I just have fun with. Like I really love helping people problem solve, and I just really like to help people. And this seemed like the best way to help as many people as I possibly can.
And if you were talking, my reason for taking this job is because I didn't know how to do my job. I came into tech integration from classroom teaching, and I had never done adult ed. I had never had any other than like going classroom to classroom and helping people out. I hadn't had any training in how to be a tech integrator. And so I went to law school, which was a colossal mistake. I have a graduate degree in education. The prospect of getting another graduate degree was really unappealing. And then this position popped up, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be an opportunity to actually learn to do the job I've had for the last 7 years and really grow in it. And so that was a huge pull for me. I also really liked the idea of having a team of people to work with. Being a tech integrator can be really isolating because you're typically the only one. And as I had hoped, this group turns out to be a fantastic peer group to work with, great ideas, wonderful sort of sense of humor about things. And already in just a month, 2 months, has felt like so many more opportunities for me to explore and better understand and be referred to resources instead of just having to do that on my own. So the original draw, I think, was for my own professional growth, and then the added advantage of feeling like I would be able to come back to my work in 2 years with a much better sense of how to do that work at a higher level.
Could you please, in this question, we're going to go back to Jonathan for this question. Could you describe the focus of the MLTI 2.0 reboot, and how do you see the ambassadors' work as a part of that initiative?
So are you all seeing the gears that I'm seeing now?
We are.
Excellent. Okay. So this graphic, which was given to us to the ambassadors by Emma and John, really does a nice job, I think, of summarizing how the shift is taking place and sort of the vision for it. In simplest terms, I think people have misconstrued MLTI as being the device program that gets laptops into schools, and not much beyond that. And in fact, it's a lot more robust in terms of the services and the support that's provided. And this is really, in a lot of ways, an effort just to get the existing support into more hands. But to do that, really looking at 3 spheres, the things that were in place already in the state and at the state level that allow for, once you have the device in hand, really beginning to think about using it in a more creative, a more thoughtful, a more engaging way. Being able to create consortiums between schools. So Kate mentioned that there's certain parts of the state where it's really difficult to get PD at all, which I've certainly experienced as well. But the huge vacuum that I've experienced is between districts that are even well-resourced and close to one another, but still operate in a vacuum. So I mentioned a minute ago the isolation you can experience as a tech integrator, but that is true for any teacher who really feels, whether they feel really competent in technology or not as competent, if they had the opportunity to connect with others who were in a similar phase of their own learning, or or in the same area of study or exploration, that is an incredible opportunity that exists. And I feel like so much time is spent reinventing the wheel or trying something out as if it's not been tried before. And I think this regional focus of the reboot really looks at ways to connect people with similar needs, similar opportunities, and give them the resources that the others have, and really just the inspiration and the connections that happen when you make those conversations start happening. And then within the schools, the one we're focusing on the most in this first stage is getting us connected to the districts that are in the schools that are assigned to each of us, so that we can figure out what the needs are. And we've already been talking, for example, about how a number of districts are moving to Chromebooks for the first time and don't have the same suite of apps and built-in programs that they would otherwise have. So that's an issue that's coming up in numerous schools, and the five of us can collaborate on ways to get the best resources into the hands of the most people. And so it ends up being kind of an efficiency of scale to some degree that gets us away from everyone trying to do this on their own and really moving towards a model where, just like the laptops are or devices are all over the state, that same level of rich professional development and interconnectedness is available too. And then John also created this graphic for us, and I think it does a really nice job of giving. So the first one looks at the three areas of focus: state level, regional, and then local. But this is the three areas that Emma mentioned, which are digital citizenship, tech integration, and digital instructional design. And for us, we each feel like we have areas of expertise in these. One of the things John mentioned, that by being able to pull from the whole state due to having so much of our work be remote, we each have areas of expertise that are very different, and they complement one another really nicely. So where, especially digital instructional design, I'm going to need to reach out to Eric or to Rob to get better information about how STEM resources are there. They might reach out to me for ELA or humanities, because that's my area of expertise as well. So I feel like this trio of areas of focus, along with the other areas of sort of energy or connection, work really nicely together. And the reboot is intended to move us to normalizing and making more well-distributed the kind of support that's there in pockets, but doesn't really get everywhere that would be most beneficial.
Thank you so much. And Emma did still fighting with Hopin, just like she was last year. So some things never change. So I will continue with question 3. This one's going to be for Rob. If I am a content teacher, in a kind of whatever content teacher in whatever region, and I'm curious about professional learning specific to my content area, will there be opportunities for me to connect with the ambassador that's has that knowledge in that specific content area?
So, yeah, I mean, the simple answer to that is absolutely. We'll be able to have you contact and make. I'm going to attempt to share here as well. So this is breakdown of our regions here, right? So here, right, as I was mentioned before, this is my region, all 8,000 square miles of it, and you have Kate's region and the down east section, a little bit of the mid coast, and then Eric, and then Holly here in the middle, and then Jonathan down in southern tip. So we have our regions divided just to kind of make our manageable caseload for ourselves. And these are just middle schools, right? These are just schools that house the original MLTI 7th and 8th grade grade levels. So just to make it manageable for us, we have this divided, but obviously with the technology that we have and the ability to communicate and connect with people, we would be able to have you, either directly communicate with the ambassador that has the expertise in that field, or if nothing else, we'd be the go-between for you, and we'd be able to seek out that information. As Jonathan mentioned, we definitely all have our own expertise and we all have our strengths. And we don't want to shortchange you in any way whenever possible. So we would certainly be able to reach out. And we're all very comfortable with that with each other, already asking each other to use their strengths or to ask of them to help us out, because we need to be stronger in an area that we might be weaker in. So with that team dynamic, we'll take care of you as best we can.
Thank you so much. All right, Em, are you back with us?
Can you hear me?
We can.
Okay, I'm going to try this. Kate, could you talk a little bit about what you've been doing so far this year to support MLTI professional learning?
So far this year, we have all reached out to all of our individual schools, trying to make connections with principals, tech integrators, or whoever might be interested in serving as their school's MLTI liaison. And we are holding meetings. I've been holding lots of Zoom meetings with my connections in my schools and starting to talk about school-wide goals and district-wide goals, and maybe even individual teacher goals in terms of technology and how I can help, if it's a tech integrator, how I can help the tech integrator support their teachers. And if it's at the teacher level, how I can help support individual teachers. We've also started to work in schools. So yesterday I traveled to Lubeck Elementary School, where I got to spend the day working with students on digital citizenship and the Flipgrid app. And then at the end of the day, I got to talk to their faculty, where we started to brainstorm their needs and ways that I can support them. So I think that all 5 of us are doing very similar work right now, meeting with people via Zoom and also face-to-face when we can, and starting to really get that process rolling of supporting teachers and their technology needs.
I will continue. I had my questions, but then they vanished on me. So I'll pull them back up for everybody. So our next question will be for Eric. And is MLTI professional development for anyone, or do you have to be a 7th and 8th grade teacher? Of course, MLTI this year is kind of going back to focusing on 7th and 8th grade. I think there's always been a question of who can participate in MLTI.
Yeah, so basically, our kind of focus is on MLTI schools. The schools that have MLTI devices, we're available for, to kind of focus on those teachers. But with that said, if a professional development is being offered to a 7th grade teacher and some 5th grade teachers show up, or if some 3rd grade teachers show up, nobody's going to kick them out. There's no MLTI police that are coming with us every day, to make sure that check your IDs at the door. So if there's anybody else who's interested in the PD that we're offering, and that they would like it, if you're a 7th and 8th grade teacher and you want to offer them the opportunity to come and participate, then they will be very welcome to join us.
Okay, this question is for Holly. MLTI has renewed their partnership with Common Sense Media. Could you tell us a little bit more about how this will factor into MLTI 2.0?
Sure. Well, as you saw in our earlier graphics, digital citizenship is one of the areas of focus that we're looking at. And the 5 of us have joined a cohort with Common Sense Media, taking a deep dive into the resources and the professional development that they offer. So we're really excited to work with schools to help support them in their digital citizenship goals. Common Sense Media offers a variety of means of accessing digital citizenship. They cover digital footprint, social media, media literacy, fair use of copyrighted materials. All of the lessons that they do offer are very easy to follow, easy to access. And we're really excited about the opportunities of coming in and helping you support whatever goals that your school or your classroom want to do to integrate Common Sense Media, and also to help you become recognized as a Common Sense Media educator, or even your school can become a Common Sense Media school. and it's not that easy, and it's very beneficial for students and for staff. Staff tend to learn a lot about their own digital literacy as they are taking a deeper dive into these common sense media activities.
All right, so I've kind of one fun question to wrap things. I haven't noticed any questions come along in the chat, so maybe we'll have to fill up this time, or if people have any chat or any questions they want to put in chat, this would definitely be a great time to do that. So my fun question for everybody, and maybe this time we'll go in reverse order just to mix things up. But if you could be an application, which one would you be? And to give people a little bit of thinking time, I'll give an example. So if I was to be an app, I would be Google Maps, because I love to give people kind of directions and guidance and help them along on their journey. And sometimes the way to get on that journey is not always the most direct and best path, but sometimes can be meandering and interesting in its own way. So I guess that will send us to Jonathan for what app would you be?
I'm so flattered I never get to go first. The first one that occurred to me was Keynote, which I just love. And so it has a ton of flexibility in terms of what it can do, and really represents how technology can kind of meet needs that you don't even realize it can meet. It also works really nicely with my annoying desire to like align things up and be sort of type A, and they like click into place in a really satisfying way that my life does not. So having a like template that did that for me would be very helpful. And then I also like that it is multimedia, and I feel as though I would like to have more opportunities to become familiar and comfortable with areas that are not currently comfortable to me. And so Keynote gives me the ability to kind of pull things in from all sorts of different sources. And so it's like a model for what I wish I would be able to do as I continue to develop, especially technologically.
I would be the app SketchUp. I love to build. I love to create. I like the logic of SketchUp. I like that you could be pulled and pushed and moved around, and kind of it's a flexible environment to just kind of let your mind go crazy and be as creative as you want. Plus, I don't always do exactly what I'm supposed to do like SketchUp does. So it's also kind of a little perk.
I would be the Goodreads app, because I love to collect and organize books, and Goodreads allows me books on there all day long. My bookshelves are thousands of books deep in Goodreads. I also love to see what everybody around me is reading, and I love to share with others what it is that I'm reading, and make connections with authors. And I just think there's not much that's more satisfying than scanning a book in a bookstore with my Goodreads app, and seeing what others have said about it before I purchase it. I just think that's really satisfying. So definitely the Goodreads app.
All right, apparently I can't do the alphabet backwards, but that's okay. I think that I would like to be a WeVideo app, and that might shock some of my cohort fans here, because I get very frustrated creating videos, but I love the idea of meshing up video and images, and then I have to put music to it. So I really, and the creative side of making videos is what really is appealing to me. And I like to also share that with my students. So I pick WeVideo, but really it could be any video creation app.
All right. This probably no surprise to my colleagues here. I'm pretty sure I would love to be a spreadsheet, Google Sheets or Excel. Probably still Google Sheets because I'm still honestly learning Excel a little bit. I've been customized to Google Sheets and what it does, because it's more than meets the eye. I kind of like that aspect of it. You know what it does, you know what it's supposed to do really well, but then you also, there's so much more to it, and there's so many layers to it that you can dig into. And it's kind of like one of those things where you're like, man, I don't know how I lived without this type deal. And I like to think that's, maybe what my wife thinks with us now is that how did I live without him at this point? But I love data. I love being able to analyze things, and that's kind of what Sheets is best at, is being able to take data and look at it and manipulate it and move it around and analyze. But then also, you can have those add-ons and those scripts for like Google Sheets where you can send emails from your spreadsheet. You can make your graphs. You can, organize your signups or whatever it may be. So that's pretty appealing to me, I think, to be able to have that type of power.
Plus, Rob's ability to use spreadsheets is the only reason I know what day of the week it is, because it lights up in our spreadsheet each morning. I'm very grateful for that.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone. Those were very insightful answers that speak to your, I think, characters and personalities very well. So I want to thank our panelists. I've not seen any questions show up in the chat. Certainly, we have contact information that's readily available on the DOE site. A news release just went out a couple weeks ago, kind of giving everyone's backgrounds and their contact information's on there. Maybe Emma and I can drop that in the chat quickly. But I would definitely say if you are in that region, we did share the map. So if you are curious who's your ambassador for your school or who's the person in your region that you want to reach out to, that map can help at this point if you haven't kind of heard through the pipeline of your principal or whomever that an ambassador has reached out to them. So certainly feel free to be proactive and reach out and start making those connections. I know it's been a very difficult school year in a variety of ways. So I think taking some time just to drop a line and say, hey, I sat in on the ambassador session, and it was just nice to see you and hear about the work that you're doing and know that you'll be working with my staff, and I'll be able to help you out in any number of ways or make connections. I mean, I think that is so much of what this position about is really building that human network that can do way more than any of us could do by ourselves. And I know certainly for Emma and I, being two-man army in the past year and a half, we are so relieved to have brought on 5 additional people and just the absolute cream of the crop, the best people that we could find. And I think it's going to be a true asset, not just for the schools that they work with, but I think the MLTI 2.0 program as a whole, I think we'll be able to get a lot accomplished in spite of any challenges, pandemic related or otherwise, that might be coming down the pipeline. I think we have a good team assembled here that's going to be able to do fantastic work. And I look forward to working with all of these people every single day. So that's certainly a positive for me. So still not seeing any questions. Emma, I don't know if you want to share any final thoughts, and we can maybe give people a couple extra minutes to shuffle along and find their next session.
I would just add that we're all a very friendly bunch, so feel free to reach out to any one of us, and we're happy to connect with you. So we're glad you all made it out today. Well, you heard me.
Yeah, we did hear you.
All right, thank you. My heart just stopped for a second, like, not again.
Thank you so much, and join us next time when Emma continues to fight with Hopin. Bye, everybody.